UFC Betting Show. I am Kyle Anthony, and welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the prediction show for UFC 264, Dustin Poirier versus Conor McGregor, the trilogy fight. Excited about this one. We had the week off. Nice to be off. Nice to kind of do other things on a Saturday. I don't know what other people do. I guess you just drink without having MMA on. Great Saturday anyway. Was a good time, but definitely spent some extra time capping this card. One thing is for sure, there are plays to be had on this card. If you want to check out, I have two 5% graded best bet plays for this card and other plays as well. So about 4 or 5 plays all together for clients. Link down in the description if you want to become a client. Take a look there, but we are definitely going to talk the main event. Excited about it. I am definitely coming back from a vacation, Turks and Caicos, about a month ago. I'm going back on vacation next week, so I'm excited about that. Going to be headed down there probably Friday. We'll be down there for the McGregor fight, going to the good old New Jersey Shore for the week. Down there with friends and family. So again, for those of you that do follow me on Twitter, at Kyle Anthony UFC, you can take a look there. I'm sure I'll be posting some things and whatnot there. And I'm definitely thinking about doing a giveaway, so take a look. Definitely check it out. Like, subscribe, all those great things. Always appreciate it. But we are coming off winning 3 of our last 4 events. Definitely pocketing some cash, feeling good, really ramping up here, excited about it, and we got to keep things going. So we're definitely going to be talking UFC 264 main event, McGregor versus Poirier, the trilogy fight. Normally in these situations, when we're talking the main event or we're talking any fight in general here on the show, I definitely like to go down 3 fights for each fighter. See what we see, kind of how we're going to break it down. In this situation here, I thought I wanted to do a little something different here, because the one thing for sure that they both have faced Khabib Nurmagomedov. Now, we don't need to get into that fight for either of these guys for reasons of it's definitely going to be a different type of fight. There's not much you can really take away from that. Of course, we all know those fights, and you know that Khabib was able to maul both of these guys and retain his title. So we're not going to get into that. I'm definitely going to talk about both fights that these guys had. We're going to talk about the 2014 fight. We're also going to talk about their most recent fight. And then one for each fighter here, where you had Poirier fight Hooker, and you also had McGregor fight Cerrone. And then we're going to wrap it all together and let you know who I am betting for this main event fight. So let's get into it right now. You've got Poirier. He's a minus 115, a slight favorite there. McGregor at the comeback, roughly around plus 100. So we're first going to talk Poirier, and Poirier fought Dan Hooker. Now, this was a fight here where you had Dan Hooker coming off the heels of a 7-1 run out of his last 8 UFC fights. He beat lost to Edson Barbosa, looked great, really was, working with Izzy, really looked to, definitely just a surge from Dan Hooker, a nice run from him. And the thing here about this fight, which was, I think, extremely, extremely important going into Saturday night against McGregor, is the durability here. I mean, the one thing we do know is that Poirier does have great boxing. He's got that durability, but you just saw it here on display. And in this fight here, early in the fight, you saw the leg kicks. That's, again, something that you saw he used against McGregor, and that's definitely a staple of his gym. And they went up there, big shots, lacking defense. Both these guys kind of stood in the pocket, and the one big part of this also is the volume. I mean, they were just both pushing out a very, very high volume, landing, not scared to kind of stay in that pocket, exchange, back and forth throughout, I would say, the entire fight. I mean, very, very close, and that's one thing definitely about this fight is I kind of feel like Dustin went more brawler than technical in this fight, and kind of fed into, I believe, a little bit more of what Hooker liked. And I think Hooker's fine kind of, he's good in the chaos. He's good in kind of just the chaotic fighting and just kind of a crazy, more exchanges. And of course, Dustin's there, but I think he kind of favored into that a little bit. But overall, again, big shots from both. It went down. I kind of had it a 3-2 here, overall. And this is a fight here that if Hooker ended up winning, he would probably have fought McGregor. But again, the big 2 takeaways here for me is really the volume that came from Dustin Poirier, the fact that his durability still is showing, even when he's had these crazy fights in his past, he still is able to have that durability, keep forward, keep pressure going. Again, back and forth brawl here against a tough opponent, but he goes out there, gets the decision victory against Dan Hooker. Now, on the other side here, you have Conor McGregor, who fought Donald Cerrone. Now, we don't have to get into this fight. This was one of those fights where kind of seemed like Cerrone a little bit unmotivated. didn't really seem like he wanted to be in there. Kind of felt like this was just one of those, he's definitely the sacrificial lamb kind of situation where he's not really, there was just limited anything for him. So Conor goes out there, he steamrolls him, in that early first round, dominated the head kick. He looked good, he looked sharp. Again, those are the things that Conor's great at. He's great at those early exchanges, that heavy pressure, the knockout power. And we're going to talk a lot about that at the very end. I kind of want to run through these a little bit quick and then dive into and tying it all together of who we will be betting. But right there in those situations there, very different fights. And I would also say it really showed a lot of what Poirier can do, and then also a lot of what Conor can do when they fought other people. Of course, they did fight Khabib, both lost there. So let's go quickly back to their 2014 fight. And the one thing I think that you're going to take out of this, and the thing that I took out of this, really was how different they were. Now, of course, we know that, a long time span in between their first fight and their second fight, but it's the same two guys. Obviously, they both evolved, they got better, they got sharper. A lot of things changed, but just stylistically and tactically, how they both really kind of went into this fight and how it ended up kind of changing into that second fight. So going into this first fight here back in 2014, Conor was a minus 280 favorite. Now, the one thing here I think that was obvious here was this was that heyday, McGregor talking trash. Obviously, it's, I don't know if the heyday has really ended for the Conor McGregor trash talk, but this was just, the aura that he had, steamrolling opponents, knocking guys out, was, calling his shots, beating guys in rounds he was calling and how he would do it. I mean, really struck fear in guys. And the one thing here was that you kind of felt it was getting to Poirier. Poirier definitely was kind of getting more emotional, I think, than maybe we've seen him. But going into this fight here, I think the first thing you saw was obviously the big kick from Conor coming out there, throwing out the big kick, but the big pressure. He came out, big pressure forward, pushing forward, and also the situation here, we're going to talk about that in the other fight, their second fight, but how loose Conor was in this first fight and how stiff Dustin was. Dustin looked almost like, when are you going to knock me out? And you've seen that with many guys. It was even against Eddie Alvarez. It almost looked like Eddie Alvarez was kind of like, when are you going to knock me out? When is this going to happen? Instead of kind of being tactical, staying at a distance, working his distance management. You didn't see that. And even against Dustin, he kind of was backpedaling. He seemed unsure, where Conor was loose, confident, pushing forward. And he had Dustin where he seemed slow, unsure of himself, more timid. And even in those exchanges, it was Conor walking him down, landed a big left early in the round, and I think that even more, once Conor landed his big power left, it even forced Dustin to backpedal even more, and that was almost where now you're just kind of in the worst spot where you've got Conor, where he's walking you down, he's utilizing his boxing, he's keeping the pressure forward, you're backpedaling, you're not really striking well off your back foot, and that's where Conor was able to kind of, unleash, found a good spot, landed it, dropped Dustin, and then he finishes him, gets on top, gets the finish there. The one thing here again, and even Dustin talked about it recently, that he, again, you could tell that there was definitely emotion going into that for Dustin, but the one thing is that Dustin even admitted to it. He said, listen, I was way out of my game. I definitely was allowing that to get to me. I wanted to prove something, and then sometimes in those situations, it's almost like you freeze up because you want to do so much, and now you're not even reacting, where obviously a lot of mixed martial artists, they say, you don't think. It's just reactive. Your body is trained so well that you're just reacting to what's happening. You almost aren't even thinking about it, and now Dustin's thinking about it and not reacting, and that's what allowed Conor to kind of dictate the pace of the fight, put on his left hand, set him up, put him in positions where he is looking to put Dustin, and that's where the decline happened for Dustin in that first fight. Now, the second fight is completely different. Now, the one thing I think that you see in this fight is how loose Dustin is in this second fight compared to what he was in that first fight, and also how I thought maybe, even more tight Conor was in the second fight. But you saw right away, again in the second fight, you saw right away the pressure. Conor comes out there, he pushes the pressure forward, he's going out there, he's trying to cut distance, try to smother you, get in your face, and definitely throwing some big shots. Conor was landing some big shots, pushing forward, but again, Dustin, it looked like Dustin early in that fight, although he was getting hit in that first round, there were some good exchanges, it seemed like he was comfortable. I mean, it was almost like he was having a good time, which is almost crazy, but he just, he had a smile on his face, even when he kind of caught Conor with like a check hook and kind of pointed at him. And that's just something that it didn't even look like it's the same person in their fight prior. Again, long time in between, but just Dustin looked so comfortable. And also the big part that was a big game changer with the takedown. 30 seconds into this second fight, Dustin goes for a takedown and completely successful, landed it, and Conor did the right thing, kind of moved his back up against the cage, trying to get leverage, trying to get back to his feet. But you could tell, and even the announcers were talking about it, that how surprised Conor looked when the takedown happened. He's figuring this is a striking match, this is my zone. We're gonna, you've got Conor who's training the boxing heavy kind of way. You got Pacquiao that's in the, waiting in the wings, the possibility of that they were talking about. So a lot of different things were happening. But the other thing, too, which everyone talks about, is the leg kicks. Now, that to me, I've got a mixed feelings when you're kind of talking about that because, leg kicks have been around. Let's talk about this for a minute. Leg kicks have been around. This is nothing new. It's newer, I should say, but it's not that it's like this thing that happened in the last year or so. People have been doing it. It's kind of taken its, life of its own, where guys are really, really making sure they're adding that to their weaponry. They're adding that to their offense. They're making sure that they're mixing that in. They're just so lethal. And the fact that Conor was kind of so thrown off by it, was unable to check them, and they were even talking into that second round. The announcers were saying he's not checking any of these. Like, he is not checking any leg kicks. Like, he's kind of trying to, but he's just unable to. They're all landing. They're all piling up. So the fact that Dustin in that fight went out there and knew, I'm not going for the knockout in the early round. I'm not going to be pushing the pace. I'm going to be smart. And of course, that first round everybody knows, is a sweet spot for Conor, where he's looking to push the pace, looking to set up his big left. So Dustin's investing in those leg kicks. And the one thing that I did not like again, and again, this is something you should rewatch and kind of look at a little bit, is the combinations Conor was throwing. I was so unimpressed by the combinations. And again, I thought Conor was going to win this fight. I thought, hey, Conor's going to go out there, Conor's going to win this second fight, all these things. It was the same 1-2. It was a right-left. He kind of kept throwing those same punches, and he was almost like he was getting frustrated that these punches weren't landing. He's kind of, he's waiting for that left to kind of rock him, and Dustin got caught a couple times, and that first round was a lot closer than a lot of people say. A lot of people are saying that Conor had that first round. It was not, I would edge it to him. But you've got the fact that, you've got the takedown, which didn't last very long. It didn't really do too much damage. But the takedown from from Dustin, the leg kicks, and the positioning on the fence. And then you add in some of the strikes. Like, you could lean Dustin there. I would give it to Conor, but the first round was very close. So you give that situation there where very close, very good fight. Conor kind of, and again, the guy that when they ended that round, Conor was already on a hobbling kind of, you could tell it was hurting him already. So the damage was definitely, Dustin landed more damage, caused more damage to Conor. Going into that second round, right away, and it was a great, strategy, or maybe that's what they were doing, where they knew that already Conor was in trouble in, his leg. They landed the amount of shots they were probably looking to land in that first round. They stayed out of danger. They took him down. They gave Conor a lot of different looks, and I think that absolutely helped going into the second round, where Conor's looking, okay, is he going to take me down? He was probably so shocked and really just ready. Is he going to take me down? Is he going to be striking? Is there going to be a leg kick? Where he probably thought this fight was going to be a lot of boxing, just heavy boxing, and and Conor felt pretty good about his boxing skills, which of course he has them. But right away, Dustin lands a heavy leg kick that kind of stumbled Conor. Conor kind of stumbled, kind of fell to the side a little bit. That was really the beginning of the end for this fight here, where at that point there, you knew that Dustin felt good. He was even the way he was dipping and moving out of all of Conor's strikes. I mean, he really was in that flow state, in that zone, landed great counter shots. Conor looked lost. And then the other part is where Conor got hurt. So Conor got banged, he gets banged up against the fence. Dustin is pouring out shots. The odd part to me here was when I'm watching it, I'm kind of waiting for Conor to clinch move. He kind of just stayed in that corner. He didn't kind of try to dip away, and Dustin just fired. Dustin just let it all hang out, landed big shots, dropped them, finishes the fight there. Fight ends, knockout for him there. So to me, the fact that Dustin was just able to tee off in that spot, and you've got Conor, who really wasn't able to kind of manage what was going on. Of course he was rocked, of course he was hurt, I get it, but he was kind of with it. He was in there, but was okay kind of dipping and moving to the side instead of clinching up, getting in tight, trying to just get a hold of him some way. Didn't do it. Conor looked terrible, I thought, overall there, but he goes out there, and Dustin Poirier gets the knockout victory. So with it all being said, the biggest thing for me here, and this is something that just, I got about 5 things here that really sway me to one way. And the one thing that I just can't get out of my mind at this point, at this stage, what's happening. And the first thing is bad cardio versus durability. I mean, that to me is just a massive storyline, a massive part of this capping, is that, you've got somebody in Conor who just is absolutely known to have that, round and a half. Of course, we've seen him further. We've definitely seen him further, but he's known to have those early big shots, the early, pressing forward, landing the shot, knocking a guy out, and that's been his thing. Now you've got on the other side, you've got someone like Dustin Poirier who has extremely high durability, a great chin, great offense. That just doesn't add up well against the guy that really needs that first round or maybe that second round knockout. Is he going to go out and outpoint Dustin Poirier for 5 rounds? No, I just don't see it. If he did that, I think that'd be unbelievable. But heading into those 3rd, 4th, 5th round, you've got someone like Dustin, who again, we just talked about how he fought Hooker. There was just volume, pressure, shots landed. That exact kind of fight, I don't see Conor making it through that unless he lands a big shot, the KO, and the fight ends. But to go blow for blow, I just don't see that being something that Conor can do. Now, you even look back, Dustin's not an easy guy to knock out. I mean, the last time he was knocked out was back in 2016 against Michael Johnson. Prior to that was 2014 against McGregor. So he doesn't really get knocked out. This isn't some guy that's got this weak chin that, hey, Conor's going to just have to tap it, fight's going to be over. I mean, he could land, of course, this is a mixed martial arts fight. These are the best athletes in the world. When it comes to this sport, a knockout is absolutely possible. Conor could land it in the first 10 seconds. Fight could be over. But looking at just the data and the information that we have, bad cardio versus durability is not going to go well for Conor, and especially if Dustin can again fight smart in that first round, where he's just going to kind of stay out of danger and know. And again, that second fight, he knew, I'm going to chip away. Let me just start chipping away on that leg, and I think it worked out better than they thought it was going to work. And I think they said, wow, these are landing. Let's just keep doing it, and let's find a finish, 2nd, 3rd, or 4th round, and it came a little bit earlier. So to me, that is a massive, massive part of this. And again, Conor's only path feels like a KO, Conor's path could be only the KO, where Dustin could get the finish. Dustin could, take him down. Dustin could win over 5 rounds. There's a lot of path to victories there for Dustin Poirier. Now, the other part here is the pace. Dustin's pace is phenomenal. Now, you back it with the durability, and then you've got the pace that he's able to put out. Now, can Conor go blow for blow like I was just saying? Probably not. The first round or two, I would say that's, again, the sweet spot for Conor. Can Conor get that knockout? Can he land it? Of course he can, but again, the fact that the pressure is on Conor, he's got to feel that. If he loses this fight and, Dustin knocks him out in whatever round, the career, where is Conor going to go after this? There's a lot more stuff kind of going in his mind compared to the guy who was dominant and had that confidence, and now you're going up against a guy who pretty much, who really did his job and went there and knocked out in the second round. So the pressure's on with him there. So the good output, the blow for blow, can he last? The pace that Dustin puts on, that's a lot of things for him to overcome. But you also back that with the aura of Conor McGregor being gone. I mean, that's something also that it was definitely part of his rise, where he was rising up in the rankings. the trash talk was there. You know, he was, you know, mentally really just shredding these guys. I mean, obviously you got Jose Aldo, who is one of the greatest ever, and he looked like he didn't even want to be out there. There was press conferences, he looked out of shape mentally, you know, just kind of just his body language, you know, out of shape, out of it. You know, they even talked about how he was like, you know, these panic attacks or whatever. He just seemed out of it. And then the fight night, you know, he went for kind of a crazy hook instead of kind of sitting in the pocket and letting the fight kind of come to him. Like, so Conor was able to dictate those kind of things. Now you got Dustin Poirier coming off the heels of knocking him out in round 2. That's gone, and there is just nothing there that he can really do or say. I mean, what is he going to say at a press conference? Dustin can, you know, kind of really, you know, put that all away by talking about how he just knocked him out. So the aura of him being gone, I think, again, helps Dustin Poirier. The other part of this is Dustin is a brawler, but he is very technical. And the part of that, I think that's the most important part of that piece is a lot of times the fact that McGregor moves forward, the fact that he moves forward, he's able to, you know, big combinations, rangy, you know, all these great things that he does. Dustin's fine being in there. You know, it's not like you're taking a guy kind of out of his element. You know, Dustin is, you know, okay in chaos, or he's okay kind of staying on the outside, working his sharp boxing. So again, anywhere that stand-up part of it goes, Dustin's comfortable. Dustin's comfortable in the brawl where it's chaos, where I don't believe Conor's okay with that. Especially the fact that now, you know, he was just knocked out. Now, what does that do to him? He just, you know, gets blown through in that second round. What does that do to him now? Is he going to be a little bit more timid? Now, is Dustin going to have a little bit more, you know, edge to him, a little more presence, you know, more confidence in him? So that also is going to go in it as well. And the last part here really is the hunger factor. I mean, you look at it now, obviously you've got, you know, Conor McGregor, multi-millionaire, made tons of money, tons of businesses. I'm sure Dustin Poirier is doing well. I'm sure he's doing extremely well, but he wants that belt. And the fact he's only an interim champion, this is his opportunity to win and to go to fight for the belt again. So I think this is a situation where, you know, and again, I'm not one that I read too much into social media posts and all these things, but you look at it and it's a part of it. And, you know, again, you don't see Conor in the gym as much. I mean, you know he is. It's not that he's not. But you've got Dustin, who just seems in incredible shape, just incredible shape. And, of course, Conor looks great, too. Not saying that. But I just feel like there's a little bit different paths here. I think that there's a little bit different of a hunger level here. I really think that this is, again, a bad situation for Conor. You've got Conor talking about, you know, mocking already if Dustin goes to the takedown early, and that, like, to me, it's just it's not the same guy anymore. It's not the guy that we saw years ago that was steamrolling everybody and had the you know, once you start losing, the trash talking kind of turns more annoying than it does like, wow, this guy, you know, he's calling his shots. And when you start losing, it just doesn't really seem as much. And now we're at that point where Dustin puts him away. I don't know where Conor goes from here. I mean, I don't know if a Jake Paul fight is on the horizon for him. But either way, he's got his money. Dustin is hungry. I like where this line is at this point here. You're talking, it's virtually a pick'em here. And I think everything coming off the heels of a fight that just happened that I thought Poirier looked good from the first round into the second round. And even if this fight went a little bit further into the third, Conor wasn't winning that fight. So to me, Poirier is going to be very smart in that first round. He's going to look to invest maybe in the legs, go for some takedowns, you know, drain Conor's gas tank a little bit, maybe up against the fence again, and then look to kind of chip away again. So to me here, I really like Dustin Poirier to go out there, get the job done, get the victory. I love the price. Pick him. You can't beat that. So that is my play for UFC 264. If you do want to see my 2 best bet plays, 5% best bet plays, take a look, link down in the description, and we will definitely talk more UFC. I will be down the Jersey Shore next week. So, you know, again, if you want to check it out, at Kyle Anthony UFC on Twitter, I'm sure we'll be posting some things, and that is it. We will see how we do. I am excited about it. Definitely like, subscribe, all those great things. This is Kyle Anthony's UFC Betting Show, and I'll see you next time.